Hi everyone. This is the last session of Codependent No More commented. I I couldn't announce this again. This is what's going on right now. I just feel the moment I'm living in the moment and the moment is like finish it now. So now it is. But you can find all my videos about this book on YouTube. And if you're interested and you cannot find it, you can just let me know. So you all are gonna see this after I post it. And so thank you for being with me all this time, reading this book with me. And I'm gonna start with lighting my candle. For me to be in service of y'all and my own higher self. And so we're going to do the last chapter, which is learning to live and love again. So, wow, this is the best ending, I think, of the book. Last session, we were talking about how exciting could be life in recovery and like how much we're now like in a journey of discovering all these new things. And so of course for us, loving again is a big deal, like loving in a healthy way and living as well, because it's hard to maintain the balance between the things, right? So you probably have heard me, but I could be a very good worker and stay very focused if I'm not dating, right? So I know how to live in like a professional way. But then when I get into a relationship, I would be lost. And so I'm only good at being a partner, and then my life gets a little unbalanced. And so this is all about that. And as I usually do, I want to tell you what I have been working on this week, and what are my thoughts related to this. And one of the things I've been working on a lot is about apologizing. And last session, I told you that I had a good experience, beautiful experience with my mother, where she apologized for something I have been waiting for her to apologize in a very long time, like for a very long time. And that was very healing, knowing that it's not that we need an apology, because it's not that we depend on other people's reaction, right? It's like more an internal process. So that got me thinking a lot about apologizing, because codependents tend to apologize a lot, because we are so aware of our behaviors and we're like super vigilant of other people. So it would be easy for us to apologize, not so much for the people that we relate to, if they are like narcissists or like emotionally more like detached. We wouldn't hear apologies from them, right? But we also have a lot of cases where like the alcoholic or the drug addict or would be apologizing, but nothing changes, right? So as everything in humanity, apologies are not good or bad in itself. It's most about my dog again. Hey. It's most about what are the intentions behind the apology, right? So even for us codependents, which we're prone to apologize, we gotta see and sit in our hearts, why I'm apologizing. This is actually something that I should be apologizing for, number one. And if yes, number two, am I really accepting what I did wrong, and I just want to make things smooth, So I feel like that is a lot to work on. I actually have had to refrain myself from apologizing, just because it's not true to me right now, and it's not that I don't regret or anything, but like that's a whole work that I've been doing. So I don't know, I've been thinking a lot about this. And yet, as I was telling you, I'm doing amends with some people as part of my process. And I've discovered myself waiting for apologies back. Yeah, that's the truth. So I know that I'm doing this and I'm supposed to not expect anything, but I do. So instead of like, making myself like I don't see what's going on, I see it. I am like, oh, there is one one part of Siri that is waiting for an apology back. And that's okay. like I understand, I'm with you, and just accepting that I'm human and that happens. And so I don't know, apologies are a big deal for me. And I feel like when I was waiting for an apology, I realized I haven't forgive the person. That was a big discovery too, because when you forgive, it's just something for you, right? It's very internal, but mostly it's not about changing other people's behavior. So if I forgive from my heart, my center, a person, there's no conditionals. And what I realize is like I will forgive you if you change, if you are better according to my eyes, if you apologize, and if you have all this healing process. That is not forgiveness. And so very good to know, very insightful for myself. And so I just wanted to share that with you. And then the other thing I was now thinking about was, and this is, I usually tell you anecdotes. So um, this morning I woke up alone, as I do, with my dog, and I saw, because the UPS tell me what is the mail that I'm going to have for the day. So I opened the email, and I saw there was a letter coming, and it seemed to be like, like write it on hand, and like from a place here in Austin where I live. And I all of a sudden got into this very weird journey where I thought that a former lover was gonna write to me, like that was like a love letter. I was like many times opening my box to see that the letter was there and all that. And when I finally got it, it was a check. So good for me, right? But what that showed me, like I felt compassion, but what it showed me is how much I in this case, I am looking for love. I'm craving for love. And in my life before healing, I wouldn't allow myself to feel that or to even say it. Yeah. Love to Christine. Yes, I just sat and I said, I deserve love, I want love, and it's okay. Sometimes we become so independent, and I love that. Like, you don't need a partner or any kind of relationship, but it's okay if you do. And if you don't, it's a good moment to ask, is it for the reason that you think it is? It's because you want to be independent, it's because you're scared, it's because you're like taking yourself out of vulnerability, as I do. I've been single for so long, and I'm happy, but I want a partner. That's okay. So all my letter projection was like, oh my goodness. And this is what she's saying here. This is the last chapter, and the last chapter is about loving again, loving and living happily, after you start this process of recovering. So what she says is that the heavy thing for us codependents is to learn how to do the two things. So during these sessions, I told you, codependents at work were great because we were overdue everything. We would, we would finish everything on time. Like, we are people pleasers. So we are great people to work with. But then it all gets difficult when you get a partner, because then you want to serve that person only, and it gets so tricky. So the balance is what we need to learn. And what she says here, and this is from 12 steps, but you don't have to do that. But what she says here is that they have a saying, which is HOW, HOW, which means honesty, openness, and willingness to try. So as I was telling you, I had to be honest that I was waiting for a lover's letter. So I'm honest, and then I'm open to the fact that I just might want to have a partner, and I'm looking for it, and I'm gonna act like according to that desire. And then willingness to try, because for us, love usually means suffering and hurting, and so I need to believe that there's another way, but it's not gonna be easy for me or for us, and so it's gonna take some time, right? And I feel like that's something we need to know. So what she says here, and I just wanted to read for you, is, I don't think love has to hurt as much as it did in the past. I don't think we have to allow love to hurt us as much as it has. So this is on page 230. And so I feel like that's that's the point, right? To believe in that sentence, I think. And how is that we do that? Oh, this list is so hard. She says detachment, which we learned. What is that about? Non-rescuing approach to people. Whoa, the hardest. Not controlling the object of our attention. Terribly difficult. Directness, also hard. And paying attention to ourselves, key. And becoming what she calls undependent, which is not necessarily that you don't trust in others, but just don't depend your whole life on one person, right? So all of this is tough. And like we just have to work on it, work on it. And something that I like too is that she says, of course, people come to our lives, and we want to believe that maybe God has something to do with it, but we also have the choice to say when to stop that, right? So I have heard a lot of codependents telling me like, well, the universe has it all. Like if this person is coming to me, it means that it's for me to learn. And yes, but you also have the chance to say, okay, I learned enough. This is not good for me anymore. So I think that's to discern, discernment on what is healthy for you. It's a big deal. And so we're gonna have to do a lot of that. And so this last chapter is really beautiful. If you have a chance, please go ahead. She also tells a story about her depression and and I was telling you at the beginning, discovering that you are codependent might bring a lot of depression and sadness, because it's a first step where you're seeing yourself and you're like, I have to work on this. And so it could bring sadness, but at the end, we hope it's just for better, obviously, and so that is something. And I think that's pretty much the key that I wanted to tell you today. She says it's okay to be in a relationship, but it's also okay not to be in a relationship. So we have talked a lot about what is for codependents to be in recovery, because when you're alcoholic, it's just not drinking and other stuff, of course, but when you're codependent, so what? You don't relate to anyone anymore? It's not so easy. Same with food. When you are recovering from food, doesn't mean that you're not eating, And so how is it that you find that place where you're doing what's good for you, right? If it is, in my case now, maybe dating could be good. If it is not dating because you're too addicted to that, and so no, it's difficult. And the last thing I think is remarkable here is this, and I have experienced it myself, is that you might tend to be attracted to the same kind of people that have hurt you a lot. So we have said this so much, that you recreate your childhood and so on and so forth. So I'm gonna just give you my example. When I'm in a room and I got that, I just want to read this. Love that series. I definitely had to learn these lessons myself. Yeah, it's not easy, but absolutely necessary. Healing, yes. Yeah, thank you for being here. Yeah, so I am in a group, right, of people, and there is one person that is the one that is shy, mysterious, that do a little bit not very common things, stay alone, drinking or something, or smoking. And I would look at that person and I would be like, that's the person I have to have. I didn't recognize this pattern, right? But even in my building, there is a guy that usually goes the same clothes every day, all alone, all thinking about life or whatever, and just solitary smokes. And I'm like, oh, you caught my attention. So what I realized is that of course I'm I am attracted to people that are emotionally not available, because my childhood was like that, and I want to win over my dad that abandoned me. I want to win over my mom that perhaps at some point was very narcissist. And so now I can see it and I laugh a little bit. I'm like, Siri, this is a person that of course you're attracted to. And maybe I'm gonna end with someone like that, but the awareness of what's happening is so important, because your desire is not mysterious. It has something. It is political for sure to start with, but it's also charged with all these things that hurt. And so sometimes we feel like we need to just follow our desires, and that might be true if that's what you need. But what she says here is like, slow down, slow down, which is what I have been doing. Is like, oh, I feel attraction here, but I just want to sit with it a minute. And that has been really good. Seriously, it has taken me out of like very bad relationships I could have developed if I would just go with my desire, without pausing. So that's good. And just knowing that sometimes you may lose our balance. So being in recovery doesn't mean that everything is solved and you're perfect, and you can even have like moments where you break your recovery. It's just part of life. And so I just want to say thank you for being with me with all these months reading this book. I really appreciate. I'm proud of you. I know you're working hard on this. Even if you popped up in like 2 seconds in any of these sessions, it means that you're doing the job and this is calling you. So I'm really proud of you, and I am really excited about how our life is going to be now that we're in recovery. So that's it. Thank you all. Till the next book. Yes, it's Codependent No More, from Melody, and I have a lot of different sessions of the book where I just comment on it. Yeah, so, and I can put it on the chat as well. Yes. All right, guys. Love you.